What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thanks for tuning in today. We are breaking down the latest news. We're talking about what could be coming up in Kawhi Leonard's future, and I'm really curious to hear what Jackie thinks about this potential landing spot for him. We're also talking about how Stephen A. Smith just absolutely tore into Kyrie Irving about missing a game for personal reasons again, and I don't know, maybe Stephen A. took it too far this time. And then finally, we're talking about Julian Edelman and how Tom Brady posted an emotional, heartwarming message about his friend and former teammate. So that is coming up in just a second. But before we do that, subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic. And Devin, I did not forget. You know what day it is. It's
Taco Tuesday. Woo-hoo-hoo. So once again, I completely messed up Taco Tuesday by having Taco Monday, which is literally what I always do. I rarely have tacos on Taco Tuesday. I need to change that, but I did make some bomb veggie tacos last night. They were delicious. I got this new salsa from Ralph's that I really want to share with you guys. Maybe I'll tell you about it if we have time at the end of the show. Jackie, how are you doing today? Are you going out for tacos tonight?
I am not. I am going to continue my apartment shopping journey tonight. So I ordered some taco stuff last night. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to come home and hopefully drink some wine to celebrate me finding a new apartment. But I highly doubt it. But keeping hope alive.
You gotta stay positive. That's the attitude, Jackie. So what kind of tacos are you going to be making tonight then?
So you would be proud of me. I like rice in my tacos. So I got some cauliflower rice, which sounds horrible to me, but I'm trying. I am definitely trying. So we're making vegetables. Is that whose email is that? Is that my email?
I think it was yours.
Oh my goodness. So yes, I will be doing veggie tacos tonight. I make a pretty good guacamole though. So worst case scenario, I just drench a whole bunch of guacamole on there if it's not tasty, and then it'll be great.
I am a strong believer that guacamole fixes everything, so I'm with you on that. That's a really great idea. But didn't you tell me that you put tequila in your guacamole? Because that's something I don't think I can get behind.
I do not. Someone did. I have a friend who does put tequila in her guacamole, but it's a flavor, and it's just a little bit. It's not like a lot. It's not. You act like we're going to take a dip of guacamole and be like, woo, turned up. No, it's just a little bit to give it like a little kick. It's pretty good, though. I like it.
I don't know. I don't know if that sounds like something I could get behind. Yikes. Okay, well, very, very interesting. I'm glad that you are going to be making some veggie tacos tonight. Send me a picture so I can see what they look like. Yes. Okay, so let me jump into the news here. I'm going to pull up my notes really quickly. I've got a couple things happening on my screen right now. But as we all know, Steph Curry and Kawhi Leonard's futures have both seemed a little bit up in the air when it comes to where they will end up. Now, I think that we can all agree that Kawhi's future looks a lot fuzzier than Steph's. We have talked about quite a few times on our show how Steph has been visibly more frustrated than we've ever seen him in the past. It seems like he has been trying really hard to bring back the Warriors team of years past, and it's not working because he's not surrounded by the same strong, talented lineup that he's always had. And so I think it's disheartening for him. We see him trying to keep his spirits up. We see him really working hard to stay positive, but ultimately it really has to be frustrating to go from being that like super threatening team that they once were when they had KD on the team, when Clay was healthy, Steph was healthy, everybody was there ready to go, to now where they are now, which is just really not impressive. But I have always believed that Steph was going to stay loyal to the Warriors franchise, even though he could be tempted by other opportunities, like maybe moving to the Lakers. We've heard that LeBron has been working on recruiting him since the All-Star game. I just don't necessarily see that happening. I think that the Warriors will do whatever they can to make sure that Steph stays happy up there, and they would be really reluctant to watch their superstar walk away. Kawhi, on the other hand, we know that Kawhi has I think it's safe to say that if they don't make it to the Western Conference Finals, Kawhi is going to be looking at other opportunities. His future with the Clippers feels extremely murky. He left the Raptors to go to the Clippers so that he could turn them into a title contending team, and so far they haven't been able to do that. And I don't think that they're going to be able to do that this season either. So right now I feel like all signs are pointing to Kawhi leaving, whether or not he should leave, whether or not he should give another season to the Clippers. I think that, or another few years to the Clippers, I think that it seems like he is going to be ready to go. But like I mentioned, the Golden State Warriors will try to do whatever they can to make sure that Steph stays happy and secure another championship win for the team, which means that they're actually looking towards Kawhi, which I think is really shocking and very interesting. It's an interesting turn of events here. The roster surrounding Steph is simply not strong enough right now, so they need to boost up their talent quite a bit. I read in an article this morning that Kawhi could be their guy. A stat came out recently that Steph has a mere 3% lineup spacing percentage, giving him little to no room to operate, where Kawhi, on the other hand, has a lineup spacing percentage of 99%, which means he's been given an ample amount of space in the half court to work in. Steph often finds himself smothered by defenses since he's not surrounded by offensive threats. So let's talk about Kawhi's contract. He signed a 3-year, $103 million deal with the Clippers, with the last year being a player option. The Clippers will likely offer him a Supermax contract extension during the 2021 offseason, and so he may take that. The Golden State Warriors already have a lot of cap space dedicated to Steph, Klay, Draymond, and Andre Wiggins, but they could be okay with dipping into the luxury if it means they can sign Kawhi and get back into title contention while Steph is still in his prime. So let's break this down, Jackie. Is this going to be a good fit? Could you see Kawhi moving to the Golden State Warriors and being able to build chemistry and gel with that lineup?
I mean, theoretically, you could get rid of Andre and bring Steph over. I mean, you could definitely do that. And then that would probably, like you said, they're willing to dip into the luxury tax. But I'm sure if they, got rid of Andre, that would probably take care of most of that. And if not, I don't know, maybe you do what Miami did, when Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade took a pay cut and LeBron took a pay cut just to come over there. If you see something like that, then you know for sure that Kawhi is definitely in it for the ring. But I just don't. I still don't know if Kawhi's not the individual responsible for the lack of chemistry that I see with him here in LA. And I just don't know if that's the Warriors need a minute to kind of bounce. It depends on what they're doing. If they want to stay on this train, which I feel they are, which is doing what they've done before. When Mark Jackson built up the Warriors that we know, it was a building process. So I don't know if they want to, because like I said, right now they don't really know who they are. Do you want to continue to build, or do you want to bring this guy in that we still don't know if he is or is not the source of contention with the Clippers? Do you want to bring him in and hope for the championship right now? Because given his track record from going to Toronto, going with the Clippers, and if he bounces again, he's clearly bouncing because he wants a ring. So are you going to be able to offer him the system that automatically gets him that ring? Obviously, like you just said, the matchup of the two of them, Kawhi is definitely going to be more physical than Steph Curry will. So now you have a totally different game, and you probably are instantly more dynamic than you are now, especially if Klay can stay healthy. But that is the big question mark for me right now. Can Klay stay healthy? Can Steph stay completely healthy? So I could see it happening. I just don't know if it would work yet because, again, I'm not ready to completely take away responsibility from Kawhi for some of the personality problems that they're having here with LA. And I still stand by what I said before. You have so many weapons here in LA. If you can't make it work here, then how are you going to make it work somewhere else? So I could see it happening, but it would be just chasing a ring. And I don't know. And I'm not mad at that, you guys. I just want to make that clear. I'm not mad at chasing a ring, but when you look at the Clippers, it's just, I don't know, it seems to me half a dozen on one side, 6 on the other, when you always have that question mark besides Klay's name, because this is 2 years in a row he's basically sitting out. That's a long time to be away from basketball, and then that's a iffy situation to come back in, and now you're babying basically both sides of your body. I don't think he's going to be the same Clay we know. I don't know, but I could see that being an issue. And if he's not the same Clay then again, you should have just stayed in LA, because you would need you, Steph, Clay to make that happen. So I don't know. I could see it happening, but I just don't know if I'm a fan of it.
It seems for me it's hard to kind of envision this happening. I don't know why. I have a hard time imagining him going in there and joining, people like Steph and Clay, who are such personalities, and they're so, I don't know. I just wonder if it would really work out. Do you imagine that they would be able to build that chemistry and get along as a team, or do you think that maybe you've already touched on this a little bit, but some of the frustrations that Kawhi's teammates on the Clippers have felt with him would carry on over to the Golden State Warriors? Or could it be a better fit because he'd be able to sit back and not have to occupy that leader role, that face of the franchise role, because Steph and Clay really already do that themselves?
I see, and they do, but you are Kawhi Leonard. That demands a level of leadership, and you're just not going to escape that. When people are putting your name in the best of categories, you automatically become a leader. So if you walk in there and you are, Silent Sam again, I just don't see that working. Again, I think he is the key. He's patient zero with the chemistry problems that I see with the Clippers, and I just don't see that changing. Now, maybe the Warriors are not so LA. Maybe they don't need somebody to be vocal. Maybe they can stand a quiet Sam who. But if he's quiet and a diva at the same time in that atmosphere, when it's very much a team, I just don't see it working. And I'm just not ready I'm not ready to say that Kawhi is not the problem here. And, like my mom always said, if you're the problem and you go somewhere else, you're taking the problem with you. So I don't see this being any different for the Warriors. Again, when you're just looking at the talent, this is something that should work. Absolutely, it should work. But again, there's something off with the chemistry here. And if the Warriors are 100% sure that it's not Kawhi, then go for it. If you don't know, then I say don't mess up the chemistry you've already built as a team, because that's invaluable. That is something you can build on and grow from, instead of having a guy that might want to come in for a year and be like, oh, this ain't it, and then go to the next spot. So it would just have to make sense for the Warriors 100% to me. It's not that I don't like Kawhi. I just don't like how he has not fully stepped into all that he can be, because he is a phenomenal player. And if he stepped up and took charge of the locker room, I think he would be unstoppable. And the fact that he's not doing that is just weird to me. So.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I think that the Warriors have really been able, not necessarily this season or last, but they've been able to show that their chemistry is really, really strong and they work well together. So to have somebody like Kawhi, who is a bit of a question mark, and this is no shade on Kawhi, it's just based on the reports that we see and the sources that come forward with information, it could end up sort of throwing a wrench in the system and making things a little bit more complicated and difficult. And I don't think Steph is going to want that, since, he's still in his prime, but it's not like he's got a 10-year career ahead of him. Maybe he does, but most likely I don't think he's got this like super successful 10-year career future in the NBA for him right now. So it might not be the most ideal situation. But yeah, it's very interesting. What do you feel is the likelihood of this happening, Jackie? Do you think that this is mostly right now just kind of rumors and conjecture, or could this really actually go down in the 2022 offseason?
I don't think anybody really needs to talk about what Kawhi is going to do until we get to the NBA Finals. If we get to the NBA Finals and Kawhi is not in there, we can talk about every team in the NBA because I think they all of a sudden become a possibility, because I think he is for sure gone. To be quite frank, I'm not 100% sure that he would stay if they win, but it's more likely, because now he can see that this, we are moving in the right direction. But if they don't make it to the finals, then I say it's a 50-50. Honestly, it's a 50-50 chance. If he makes it to the finals, then I don't think it's going to happen at all. But if he doesn't, I think it's 50-50.
Very interesting. We'll have to see what happens with Kawhi and the Clippers. Big question mark right now. Let's move on. Let's talk about Kyrie Irving. Stephen A. Smith also seems to feel that Kyrie is a big question mark. So Kyrie is expected to miss another game for personal reasons. So he was going to miss the Nets game versus the Timberwolves for personal reasons, but that game was postponed due to a police-involved shooting in the Minnesota area. That was, again, another horrendous example of how things need to change systematically and functionally in our society. And we know that Kyrie has always been extremely vocal about social justice issues, and he is a man for the people. He wants to see change. He's outspoken about how he thinks people need to step up and speak their mind and force change to happen in our country. So the reason that he could be sitting out again, could be because of what just happened in Minnesota. But Stephen A. Smith called out Kyrie. Yes.
Okay. That wasn't me. I just went to type and I heard music. I was like, "That's not me. I didn't do it."
Oh my gosh. So Stephen A. Smith actually.
I think that's the way, because I was about to clap at somebody, and I think that's the universe. Like, no, don't do it, stand down. So I'm gonna stand down. That's how I'm taking that.
Okay. Here's a sign from the universe. I haven't been able to look at the chat, so I don't even know what upset you yet, but I'm sure once I see it, I'll just go in and delete it if you haven't already, Jackie. So Stephen A. called out Kyrie on Monday for missing yet another game this season. Leo, can we roll that clip right now?
What the hell is going on? You only played 20 games last year in Brooklyn. Okay, you didn't play in the bubble. Then you come out of, you didn't want people to play in the bubble because you wanted folks to focus on other issues. And it turns out you got your own issues, whatever they may be. And so we wish him and his family and everybody, nobody's wishing anything negative about them. Nobody's doing that. We all hope that everything and everybody is okay. But I don't recall Kyrie at any point saying, "Here's your money back."
So he goes on to say, you're missing games that I want to address what he just said. He said, you never come and say, here's your money back. You don't have to pay me. So that was Stephen A.'s argument, is that Kyrie is still collecting a paycheck even though he is sitting out of games. He went on to say, quote, you're missing games at your discretion. How many personal days do you need? You don't play every day. You've got 72 games this year instead of 82. You only played 20 of the 72 games last year. What the hell is going on where you're just missing games? People reacted, writing things online saying, not hard to understand. First break, he spent time with his family because that's his priority. Second break, his fiance had a kid. Now he's missing just one game because Ramadan starts. Stop caring so much that Kyrie has things valued higher than basketball. I've seen that Ramadan statement circling around. I didn't know Kyrie observed Ramadan. Maybe he does. So that could. You don't think he does?
I don't know, but here's the thing. Even if he does, the problem is, and I get it, I'm always team Kawhi because I have a love-hate relationship with Kawhi. It's more love, though. But even if that is what's happening, this is the same thing that I said about Kawhi. You're too quiet sometimes. I appreciate your silence, but sometimes if you want to silence the noise, the only way to do that is to speak up. We had to dig and see pictures and then figure out, oh, his fiance had a baby. We had to figure out, he wanted to spend time with family because of their birthdays and stuff from social media. He's never said, this is all easily fixed. And I get you, maybe not the birthday one because you knew your family was going to feel however about that. But, the birthday of your child, you should probably share that. We're all going to know what that is. And the timing just looks jacked up. Dennis was out there putting in work on Kyrie. And then they had the words with the N word, and then all of a sudden you take time off. So regardless, I don't know for a fact. I don't believe he's Muslim. So I don't know if he celebrates or not. I'm not going to say. If he does, well done. Respect you for observing your religion and sticking to that. That's fantastic. But again, this all could be avoided if you and you don't even have to come to a press conference and say it. Say it the way you say everything else. Just post it on your Instagram. We'll see it. But you have to say something because it just looks like you face adversity here and you're out there. So Stephen A. Smith, I follow him on Twitter. He did post a tweet later on that said, "Hey, I just found out what's going on with Kyrie. So, I apologize for going into him so hard, but that doesn't change the fact that we want to see him play. And that's the truth of the situation. We want to see if this situation in the Nets is going to be a real thing. We want to see you, KD, James Harden, Blake, all y'all. We want to see y'all at the same time so we know if you are the threat that you claim to be. And every time you take time off, you take away from the fans, you take away from this experiment that's happening, and you make yourself look bad. Even though, again, I can respect the reasons why you're off, but I think the average person could respect that too. Number one, if you would just say it. But number two, Stephen A. is right. You're only playing 72 games this season. You can't work out your schedule to handle some of this on your day off. I just don't understand why he can't make some accommodations to be present for his team. It's a rough one. So I get what Stephen A. is saying. I'm not mad at Kyrie though, but I get what he's saying 100%.
So just for the record, for those of you who didn't see Stephen A.'s follow-up tweet that Jackie mentioned, he tweeted, "For the record, I just became aware of Kyrie's situation, which is his position. Today's miss is one thing, but the other 2 times he was quoted as saying he needed a break. He played just 20 games last season and had 9 months off. Damn, don't we want to see the brother play?" So when I was looking into this, I was actually unaware of what the situation was that Stephen A. is referring to. Was it the N-word situation? Was it the police shooting? Is it Ramadan? Do you know, Jackie? Because when I was looking into that, I was trying to figure out what is the situation that Stephen A. just became aware of.
I think it's the Ramadan, because that's all I saw people tagging him in and things of that nature. But again, I follow Kyrie, and let me just look right now. But I haven't seen him post any, because he would do that. He does stuff like that. He just posts something randomly that you might have to dig into, and then all of a sudden you have that aha moment, and you know what it means. But I haven't seen any tweets from him. I'm just looking real quick to see if I see. I haven't seen any Instagram posts or anything. So why not tell us that way? That's why I don't know what Stephen A. is talking about, unless this is going to be one of those situations where tomorrow Stephen A. gets on the air and says, I had a source tell me, because he's always good at the source. Nobody knows who it is. So maybe that's what it is. But I don't know. I think he's just going off of what people are saying, and that he's celebrating. Oh, he might, because he might. He did. But that's from March 18th. So I don't know. I don't know what my brother's doing today. This tweet is old, so I don't know what he's doing today.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Kyrie either. And it's weird because I see both sides here. For me, it's like, if the Nets want to continue issuing paychecks to Kyrie and letting him sit out of games, that's their problem. It doesn't matter for really anybody else except for the Nets fans who are showing up to watch Kyrie play or tuning in to watch Kyrie play. But ultimately, the franchise's, the organization's decision. And so for Stephen A. Smith to care about Kyrie getting paid, to me, is kind of like, who cares? We were just talking about Clay, who's been out for 2 seasons and signed a, $50 million contract, whatever you said it was. So, people get paid even when they're not actually being productive out on the court. That being said, I think it would be in Kyrie's best interest if he came out and did acknowledge what was going on, and he did say why he's missing these games and cleared up some of the rumors. But I also understand that we have seen Kyrie get torn apart in the media and in headlines for literally everything that he says. And I would understand, being in his position, why coming out and saying, I'm missing the game because of Ramadan, he probably would get a lot of hate messages about that or whatever it is. So he probably is just like, I'm going to cut my losses and just decide I will not say anything. People can decide what they want to, feel what they want to feel, believe what they want to believe, but I'm just going to take the time off because I need it. So I sort of understand why he's not coming out and saying it, because no matter what he says, people are going to be critical. So right. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one. It's like, I understand what Stephen A. is saying, but I also understand Kyrie's position as well. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Jackie?
Yeah, I also understand not feeling the need to answer to anybody. You know what I mean? Even if he knew everyone was going to be so understanding, if you are celebrating, the birth of your son or your child or your religion or whatever, those are very private moments. And I can see that you might not want that to be a public thing. You might just want to obviously chill with your fiance and your newborn child. You might want to just celebrate or honor your holiday, your religious holiday, however you do it, in peace and quiet, and not have anybody all in your business. I get that those are very private moments, but that's one of the things that come with being a superstar. There's prices to everything. That's the price of fame. If you don't tell us what's going on, we're going to assume what's going on. And I know, even though he says he doesn't care what people think, I know hearing the constant narrative that he's just, he doesn't really want to play basketball. He's not committed to the team. I'm sure he hears that, and I'm sure he gets tired of hearing that. But again, the only way to stop hearing that is to show up. And if you don't show up, make it a legitimate reason. And as much as I have birthday months, and every weekend in that month is my birthday. And I expect my friends to honor that. If they don't, they will be put on notice. So I understand how important birthdays can be. And I respect that he wants to celebrate those. But again, especially this season, you're not playing every day. You're not playing as many games. Okay, if your birthday falls on a Friday, but I have to play Friday, sorry, sis, we're going to have to celebrate your birthday on Saturday. You know what I mean? Just be there for your team, because otherwise we are going to continue to say we wonder if you really want to play basketball, because you're not acting like you really want to play basketball. So he needs to own it or not give a damn about it. And right now I feel like he just don't give a damn about it.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. It's like, all right, Kyrie, you do you. People are going to continue talking about it. You're going to get these rants from Stephen A. and other, reporters online. And if that doesn't bother you, keep doing what you're doing, I guess. I don't know. Let's talk about Julian Edelman. So he announced his retirement yesterday, and Tom Brady posted a really, heartwarming, emotional message to him. So during his 12-year career in the NFL, he was very, very, very close with Tom Brady. And after he announced his retirement, Tom decided to celebrate his former teammate with a really sweet Instagram post. Excuse me. I don't know, my voice, I feel like I keep losing it, you guys. I don't know what's happening. So they were teammates for 11 years, and a big reason that the Patriots were able to win 3 Super Bowls during that period is because Julian always came through in the clutch during the playoffs, and that was the first thing that Tom Brady really wanted to point out and draw attention to in his message. So he wrote in the caption, "That was when you shined the most. On the biggest stage and in the biggest moments, you always came through." He went on to say, "I was a witness to so much of the journey, and I'm so proud of you and how you grew from a 7th-round underdog to an older 7th-round underdog. You never lost that chip on your shoulder. You never let anyone define you as a person or player. You have so many teammates that admired your work ethic and your will to win, and I am at the top of the list. Because when I was down and feeling sorry for myself at times, you were right there to pick me up. You were as tough as could be, and I love you for all that you did to make our teams as great as they possibly could be." Very, very sweet message to Julian there. So that was nice to read. He posted a bunch of pictures of the two of them together. But let's talk about this retirement, Jackie. Do you think that it was the right time for him to throw in the towel on his NFL career?
I mean, his body will tell him that. He's not Tom Brady, where he's limiting the number of hits he gets. Every time he steps on the field, he's getting some sort of hit, and your body will tell you that. I do find it interesting. I mean, not interesting because we know how close that they were, but I could have sworn, and I know you stay up on the gossip, but I could have sworn that Julian Edelman unfriended him when he went to Tampa Bay. So I'm assuming, did he tag Julian? Because I want to know. I could have sworn, because I don't remember a lot when it comes to the gossip, but I do remember the petty, and I could have sworn Julian Edelman unfriended him when he went to Tampa Bay.
Okay, so Tom Brady still follows him. Let's see if. Oh no, he follows Tom Brady.
Okay, so they must have rekindled their love, because there was a point when Julian Edelman unfriended him. So I don't know. I love this message from Tom Brady to Julian, because Julian is just dope. 34 years in football years. When you're talking about, again, kind of like what we talked about yesterday, a lot of these kids are starting at like 6 or 7 years old. So 34 in football years is like 50 in regular years. Seriously, it's probably older than that. I've seen studies where they'll take a X-ray of their brain and they have a 60-year-old brain and they're 35. So depending on how many hits they take. So I think 34 is a good time to retire. I think when you're Tom Brady's age, it does get a little rougher. You're putting your body in more jeopardy because the older your body gets, even if you're in the most amazing shape, and don't get me wrong, I've seen 60-year-olds running canyon that are running laps around everyone else. So you can be in great physical shape. That being said, though, your body still does heal slower. You come back from injuries slower. Things ache a little longer. So I think the older you get, the more you just kind of want to get away from that a little bit if you can. And so I think for him, he would have much rather to retire a champion. So that's why I do want to shout out JD, because I think JD has a point. Because if you remember correctly, Brett Favre did something similar to this to force his trade. So he retired and then went to, I don't know, I think it was the Vikings, I think is what he went to after he retired. So I could easily see this being I'm going to retire. Oh, no, now they're running commercials of me coming out of retirement because now I'm going to Tampa Bay. I could see that. I could see a plan in motion being set, and then that's going to and I could see Tom Brady already knowing that, even though he did this long, drawn out, oh, I love you, you're amazing. This is all to be like, maybe they won't suspect me if I really seem like he's retiring. So I can 100% see that because like Kevin said, he left everyone on the field for sure. And Tom Brady is hoping that he has a little bit more. I bet. I would not be surprised at all if that happened.
So that was actually going to be my next question, Jackie, if you thought Tom Brady was going to do what he did for Gronk and pull Julian out of retirement, and I 1000% see this happening as well. The emotional, heartfelt message makes sense because you got to pretend like it's real. You got to pretend like he's actually retiring, but I agree with you and JD that it is going to happen very soon where he comes back. So yeah, that'll be fun to see that again, see those two again. And Tom Brady is a very, very convincing and what is the word? Persuasive guy. So I think that's going to be an easy thing for him to accomplish. But congrats to Julian on his fake retirement. Hopefully this next chapter is going to be fun and relaxing for you, at least for a little while. But that wraps up Need to Know News. So Jackie, why don't we go into the post-up?
Yes, I'm excited for this first one, guys, because it's something that I think we all can just kind of go, yep, that sounds right. Because I have some of you guys yesterday in the chat, you said the Knicks aren't worth anything. That has traditionally been true, but have you seen the Knicks lately? Because again, what did I say yesterday? I said if the Lakers can beat the Knicks, then I won't take that Nets win as a fluke, and they did not even a little bit. So it is because the Knicks are so much better right now. It's been a lot, like Devin said yesterday. I kind of wish CK2K, you guys might know him as Chris Clark, was here because we clowned him for years about his Knicks, and he doesn't even get to clap back at us right now. But I think I have figured out why the Knicks are so good, because they've been trashed my whole entire life. So I think I have figured it out, and it's all because of Kobe Bryant and the seed he planted in Julius Randle, and now it is spreading amongst the other Knicks. Take a listen. I love this.
Reflects on the 2 years he spent there with Kobe Bryant. It was Bryant who taught him that whenever you land in the next city for the next game, you hit the gym to put up shots before you go to the hotel. No matter how late or how inconvenient that may be, it's the game and it's the work that comes first. Well, last spring, not long after Bryant's passing, Randle landed in Detroit. It was late at night. The Knicks found a local high school that agreed to stay open super late so Randle could get that work in. When he arrived, the athletic director at the high school was waiting for him and said, "It's good to see you. Guys don't really show up here to do that kind of work anymore." Matter of fact, the last guy to come in and shoot late like this, it was Kobe. Randle said the moment gave him chills, that it was really emotional. And what he's most proud of is that that tradition is something that he's passed on to the Knicks. So now when he's finding those gyms late at night, Mike and Clyde, he's not going alone. He's going with his Knicks teammates. They're all doing that work, and it's all because Kobe taught him that that's what it takes.
So that is such a great story. You love hearing Kobe stories, but that's what I'm telling you guys. When you plant that seed, it will grow. And that one moment in time with Kobe is now spreading to all the rest of the Knicks. And I'm telling you that willingness to put in that extra work is. I don't sleep on the Knicks. That's all I'm trying to say. Devin, what did you think about that story?
I mean, I love it. It's a powerful story and means a lot, and it shows how strong and powerful the Mamba mentality is. And I think that, God, my voice, I don't know what is happening. I keep on feeling my voice like drop out of my throat. It's so weird. The Knicks have the Mamba mentality, and I love seeing his legacy live on like that.
Yes, for sure, because we haven't got to talk proper trash about the Knicks this whole season. You know how good we are at talking trash about the Knicks? Very, very good at it. And now we've got absolutely nothing to say, which is tragic. But this next one, I was actually watching this game last night. Shout out to Steph Curry, who broke Wilt Chamberlain's record last night. I think he had 53 points. It's like his 19th 50-plus game. So shouts out to him for sure. One of my questions, though, was why Jamal Murray. And they could have potentially won, but at the time that Jamal Murray went down, but it would have taken a miracle. So I always wonder why you have your top stars playing in that late and you know the game is a wash, because I hate to see guys get hurt when you're getting hurt when it could have been prevented. So I want to show you the injury. It's in slow motion, so you couldn't see it in real time at all, but right there you can kind of see his knee goes one way, his body goes another, and he doesn't even get to take off. And the crazy thing about this was, because there's no fans in the stands, you can hear him, and he's like writhing in pain, and he's hitting the floor, and it's just one of those terrible, terrible situations. And then, of course, they needed to come out. It was so bad that they brought the wheelchair out for him, but he wanted no parts of that wheelchair, which I respect that, because that just kind of shows the heart of who Jamal is. And Richard Jefferson was commentating this game, and he said that, Jamal's not only good for the Denver Nuggets, he's good for the league, and he really, really is. And then the sad thing is, because when we started the show, all I knew was he was going into an MRI, but of course we've gotten notifications since then that it is a torn ACL. He is completely out for the rest of the season, which really is troubling, of course, for the Denver Nuggets, because you want to kind of keep that momentum going. So I just feel so bad for them, because right now they're in fourth place in the West. They're only 3 games behind the Clippers, and now Jamal Murray is out. So, Devin, did you happen to see that injury? And what do you think this means for the Nuggets, now that Jamal is out for the season?
Gosh, I don't know what this means for them, but I did watch it, and you're right. You can hear him, and you can see how painful that whole thing was. It's really devastating, because they are having such a great season, but to be out somebody like Jamal's, I don't know. I mean, that's going to impact them definitely moving forward into the future. I feel really sorry for him too. And then also just about that wheelchair moment, Jackie, if that were me and I had just torn my ACL, you best believe I would be getting in that wheelchair right away. Like, yeah, I'm sitting down from here on out. So I think that it does show his tenacity and his strength for him to be like, I'm not going to sit down. But wouldn't you sit down in the wheelchair?
Probably not in that moment, honestly. If it was just me and my friends or something like that, or then maybe I'd probably milk it so I could get babied and stuff. But if I'm playing in a competition like that and the cameras are watching, no, I'm not gonna cry until I get into the locker room. And then when I get to the locker room, I'm probably gonna scream like somebody stabbed me in the throat. But when everyone's watching me, I'm just gonna suck it up and just hobble out of here and be like, I'm good. No, you're not. You're not fine at all. But so I definitely respect that moment in time. But he went into that, and that's my only issue with this whole thing, is he went into that last night with a sore knee. So anytime even if it's a sore knee, at that point in the game, I probably would have pulled Jamal, because you're not going to win. And so I hate to see injuries like this when there's no chance of an actual victory in the situation. But yes, I agree with Kevin in the chat. He says, never show signs of weakness. Absolutely true. But This next one is not a sign of weakness, but it's a sign of a bold-faced lie. This did not happen because if it had happened, I can guarantee you they'd make this poor baby do this again and we would see this on video. But Derek Carr is out here telling a whole bald-faced lie. He posted this to his Twitter and he says, I just went to pick my son up out of his crib from a nap. Instead of getting the usual da-da, he looks at me and he says, Raiders. It's definitely in our blood. Boy, bye. Being a Raider, it did not happen. And no, but look, you just open yourself up to shade, and I didn't get all the shade, but there was so much shade. But this was the constant theme of all the shade he got. And he says, and he already has as many playoff wins as you do. Hashtag Raider Nation. All of them said that, like, maybe he'll win. Maybe you can watch him win a playoff. The shade. Don't put your baby in a lie, because now your baby is part of the shade. Devin, we know this is a lie. But would you put your baby out there like that? Would you lie on your baby? That's too much.
You know, honestly, knowing me, I probably would do something like this with my baby just just for the amusement of it all. But yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. I'm sure he didn't expect all of the trolling and the dragging to come after that. Like a tweet like that, you know, he probably thought it would be something that people read and then just brush right over. But no, people always have to share their thoughts online.
And people are always ready to shade the Raiders. That's just who the Raiders are. That's how people love shading the Raiders. But let's move on to this next one, because this next one is interesting because apparently Shannon, this happened to us once. It actually happened to me. I think I posted something that was totally fake. But those trolls out there be having these fake KD accounts that look kind of real. And apparently Shannon Sharpe might have accidentally lied on KD, but let me let you listen to the clip first.
Better than even LeBron James, but very few people were willing to go there. And then he's like, because he said it, if LeBron James is the GOAT, I beat the GOAT twice and hit the shots in his building, what does that make me? It wasn't about what I will be.
Okay, so that's if you saw the whole clip, he was saying basically there was a time when everybody was saying that is KD better than LeBron, and then KD came out and said, yeah, I'm better than LeBron. So that is the whole premise of the whole thing. And then one fan, because I was like, you know what, I don't hate KD, I'm kind of Switzerland when it comes to KD, but if KD would have said this, I would have bona fide hated KD. Like, I don't remember him saying this. So you look in the comments and there's a fan that specifically remembers it, and he goes, I do remember that quote being posted after the Warriors last championship. Don't remember by who, but I remember that quote. Whether actually KD said it or not, Sharpe ain't necessarily wrong about it being put out there. So he remembers the quote being put out there. I don't even remember that. So I must have just blocked that out of my mind. But apparently Shannon Sharpe took it as fact, but that is apparently not the case, because it's from a burner account. And apparently the person whose burner account it is says this happens all the time. So I have one more tweet where someone reveals it's a total troll. But Kevin Durant says, no, your uncle out here lying again. When did I say this, Shannon Sharpe? Well, people remember it being said. So then this fan exposes it as fake. It says, pretty sure Shannon just used your fake KD quote today on Undisputed. And he says, yeah, I know, it's not the first time. So this guy goes around posting fake stuff, and then we just take it as value. But KD had to take it one step further. He actually made a comment on the entire situation. I think we have that post. Basically, he was just saying that, you know, it's not true. Let me see if I can find it. So let's see. He said, people try to discredit my rings, but honestly, I feel like they're the most valuable of our era. People argue LeBron James is the GOAT, but if I beat him in back-to-back finals, what does that make me? So that's the exact quote, apparently. So Shannon Sharpe ain't wrong then, right? Isn't that pretty much what Shannon Sharpe said he said?
No. I think that's also a fake quote. The one that you just read.
Oh, okay. So, but this says it's from, what podcast is this from?
The Etc. podcast.
Is that a real podcast?
It is a real podcast, but I don't think KD said that. I think it's still that same. They just try to make it seem legit, you know. So
Yeah.
I don't think it was real. But okay, so part of me with this Shannon Sharp thing, like, he needs to have a team of writers, a team of interns, everybody fact checking everything that he talks about so that he doesn't get duped by these fake quotes. But I have to admit, it has happened to us before where we'll post something in our Slack chat and it looks like it's from the Sports Center Twitter handle, but really it's like supports center. And, it's not like it's not the right one, but then we're like, oh my God, is this actually happening? Is this real? And we get, duped by it or like tricked by it for a minute. But we're also a really, really small team. We don't have 10 interns working for us who we can say like fact check everything. But it is surprising that Shannon Sharp on that national platform that he's on would be out there saying these fake quotes, like not even something remotely what KD said. Maybe it's how KD feels. We don't know that, but it is kind of a weird situation.
It definitely is. And the problem is, though, is even if Shannon Sharp had put down, first of all, I definitely don't think this quote is true. And so there's that. Number two, even if Shannon Sharp wrote down everything he thought, he speaks off the top of his head a lot. So I don't know if there's a way to speak out about, kind of catch him from doing that. But let's move on to this next one, because this is one of those topics that I've really been trying to avoid, at least for this week, because it's, I'm just tired of this narrative. I'm tired of this going on over and over and over again. I'm sure you've heard about Dante Wright. He is the 20-year-old young black man, unarmed, who was shot by a 25-year vet of the police department, who apparently couldn't tell the difference between her taser and her Glock 9mm. Let me just tell you guys something. On the police, the taser's on one side, the gun is on the other. That's first and foremost. So there's no way you can get them mixed up. That's why they're on opposite sides. Number two, the Glock is heavier and feels different in your hand than a taser does. There is no way in hell this woman, especially being on the force for 25 years, did not know the difference. This is malicious and first degree, in my opinion. But of course, we've had a lot of protests. We know that the game between the Twins and the Red Sox was indefinitely postponed. So was the game between the Timberwolves and the Nets. And riots have basically happened. And then what's really horrible about this is in the same city where the Derek Chauvin trial is happening. So this is clearly not where black people should live. Y'all might need to do a mass exodus because it just does not seem safe to me. But Greg Popovich once again spoke out about this. And he said, he does what he does. And if you haven't seen him actually say this quote, you should go look up at the video, because the way he delivers it is just so powerful. You can tell he feels this. And he says, how many times does it have to happen? As sick to our stomachs as we might feel, that individual is dead. He's dead. And his family is grieving. And we just keep moving on as if nothing is happening, which is true, which is the part of life that always kind of bothers me. We just, this young man is dead. And now what do we have? What kind of recourse do we have? None, really. We're just out here, marching and crying and praying, because that's all the recourse we have. But Popovich is always on point, and I love him for that. This is, I don't really have much else to say. I mean, I do, and I will, but not right now. So let's move on to this next one, because Kyle Kuzma, when I first saw this shirt, I got a little dizzy. So let me show y'all this fit. Kyle Kuzma out here wearing a jacket with mirrors in it. At first I thought it was holes, but then it was like he full on mirrors in it, and I don't understand why he's doing it. This user has an idea, and I think they are spot on as to what they're saying. Because I have this weird feeling that some dude sells these to Kuz for thousands of dollars as a joke, and Kuz just never caught on. Because seriously, what was that? That was not, that was so, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But that's Kyle Kuzma. Go ahead, Devin.
Nothing. I'm just, what the hell, Kuz? Come on. It's just going too far now. That was dumb.
Now you're just being ridiculous for ridiculous sake, and it's just I don't I don't get it. But let me tell you something: when you got your pregame ritual, if it works for you, it works for you. Don't sleep on anybody's pregame ritual, including this one. I'm not mad at it. If you can't tell, I could tell immediately because I've seen this movie inside of 30 times. But he's watching Shrek 2 before their game. Look at his face. Like, how do you get hyped up? This is how I get hyped up. I'm not mad at it. Do whatever you need to do to get hyped. And then this next one, I absolutely love this because this is, when you see kids play sports, if you're a parent that doesn't want to put them in football, may I suggest baseball? They get paid more anyway. So may I suggest baseball because this kid, he's not exercising the basics in this next video, but he is exercising thinking through the moment and thinking on your feet. I love this kid. Take a look. The spin move. Did y'all see the spin move to get the kid out? This was so thinking on your feet. Comes in, fields it, turns, throw it. You're out of there. I love this so much. But then there was this. I just really like when kids can just think it through on their own and you don't have to teach them something like that. This was all improv for that kid and he nailed it. Of course, he got some unnecessary hate because something's wrong with adults. Adults are weird people. He says, what happens when you teach a 7-year-old fundamentals like, oh, this is not the hater one. I didn't put that one in. Move the ball and follow the ball all the way to your kid, all the way to your glove. Awesome kid. Kid could go certainly places, but don't be fooled. It's no miracle. I don't know if I think it's no miracle because some kids, they get nervous in the moment. So don't hate on this little one, but that's all I got for the post up. This, what we're not going to do is going to be pretty quick. I want to get you guys' opinion on this. If this is, so we talked earlier about Jamal and him not wanting to get on that wheelchair because you don't want to show weakness. So my question is sometimes letting it be known that your feelings was hurt about a team that got rid of you. Are you looking weak? Are you looking soft as well? Because Sam Darnold out here and all his feelings are hurt. Every single one of them. We knew that the Jets were going to move on from him when they decided to get that number 2 pick, and we knew that they were probably going to try to get Zach Wilson. But Sam Darnold is doing this interview, and he's kind of going on and on about, how unwanted he felt. And I don't mean to giggle, but if there's nothing else you should know when you go into the NFL, you should know that team, you don't own that team. And since you don't own that team, at any moment, if they feel they can move on and into a better situation, they will move on from you. So when he's talking about, his trade and how he felt during the trade, he said there's been so much uncertainty this offseason, not knowing what your future is going to look like. And that was hard. He said that I imagine I was going to be the franchise quarterback of the New York Jets for a long time. And once you realize that the team that drafted you is moving on, it stings a little bit to go from being unwanted to being wanted is huge. So again, this is not something that I personally think should be. You might feel this, there's a couple problems with this though. Number one, you might feel this. I don't know if this is something that you say in an interview in a way that it reflects to oh my God, I'm just so sad that I didn't get to stay there. Yeah, I 100% agree with the statement that says, hey, I'm glad I'm going to a team that wants me and then I can grow and I can build, which I'm not entirely sure what they're thinking over there because Teddy Bridgewater, the stats are the same. So actually Teddy Bridgewater's stats are better. So I don't think Sam Darnold is by any stretch of the imagination a better quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater, but they've already named Sam Darnold their starter. I don't understand that. Maybe that should be what we're not going to do one day this week because that doesn't make an ounce of sense to me. But I don't think you start off your new career by saying, oh, you know what? My ex didn't want me, made me feel so unloved, but now I'm over here with people that I barely know in a new system, and now it feels great. I just don't know if you put that kind of blood in the water and you let people know that your goal, and this is the other problem I have with it, your goal and your heart's desire was to stay with a losing franchise. That's what you wanted to do. You wanted to be wanted by a losing franchise, which to me in my heart says, who wants that? who would not immediately go to maybe say something to the effect of, you know what, when I thought about it and I realized I was going into an opportunity where I might have a better chance to win, have a better receiving core, it felt amazing. You don't go, oh, woe is me, the trash team that I'm on didn't want to keep having me take out the trash. I just don't understand his narrative. And to me, for a quarterback that's not that good to come out and say that, oh, my feelings are hurt, I just can't make it make sense. Okay, Jeremiah has a good point. Sam Darnold equals Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler is probably still slightly better. When you look at the numbers, Jay Cutler is still slightly better, but he's not that quarterback that's going to change your system. He's not that quarterback that's going to get you over the hump. In fact, if you had to pick between the two, you try to build Teddy Bridgewater into the quarterback you want him to be because he's already better than the quarterback you got. I don't understand what's happening here on either side and why, to me, Sam Darnold looks like he kind of has a loser mentality if he really wanted to stay with the franchise that is not getting better and is not making moves to get better. So what we're not going to do is pretend that Sam Darnold has a clue or that he's going to be better than Teddy Bridgewater. It's not going to happen. But that's all I got for what we're not going to do. Devin, do you have any thoughts on this? Oh, now my throat went out for what? Did you pass on this? My voice just took I was like, where'd my voice go?
Maybe I did, and if I did, I'm really sorry about it because it's wildly frustrating to do a live show and have my voice continue to drop. But yeah, I mean, I do think this is kind of funny. It's like a bit of a weird thing to say. I think that he would have been better off just talking about how excited he is for the future and how he can't wait to, see what he's able to do with his new team. But to sit back and say that it stings a little bit because he thought he was going to be the franchise quarterback for the Jets for a long time. I mean, it's a little bit bizarre. So I agree with you 100% on that one. I'm not sure why he would have taken that approach. But yeah, that's all I really have to add to that. I can't make it make sense. I don't have any explanation for that statement at all.
Yeah, Kevin Lang in the chat, he said, Bridgewater is good, but he's not next level good. Okay, I totally agree. Teddy Bridgewater is good. He's not next level good yet. Maybe he could be. But Sam Darnold is not Teddy Bridgewater good. That's my only confusion about this situation. If Teddy Bridgewater isn't next level good, then why do you get somebody who's not even on Teddy Bridgewater's level? Level up. That should be the thing. Not level down and not level linear. Those are not the levels, people. Up is the only level.
Yep, I agree with you, Jackie. All right, well, before we both lose our voices, let's wrap up the show for the day. We're going to be back again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so don't forget to tune in. Tap the bell for notifications so you get that little push notification right when we go live. Subscribe, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, and we will see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.